5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hello and welcome, everyone, to Truth, Beer, and Podsequences. Yay! This is a podcast where my co-host and I listen to all the craft beer podcasts and media from the previous week, and we get together at a podcast host, and today we are back. At Higher Gravity Summit Park. Thank you for being a gracious podcast host.
Can I just say that Higher Gravity Summit Park smells amazing today?
It does. You can say that.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
It's me.
Oh, is that you? Not? I thought.
I got some free deodorant this weekend. Yep,
nice.
That's probably what it
Very
smells
I
like.
did too. That's interesting.
I thought that it was like the influx of coffee, since they are just a few short weeks away from opening up the coffee portion of that, and I'm like, oh, it's got to be. But maybe it is you. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. And we'll get into some of that a little bit later, maybe.
You get into my pits?
No.
Well, just
that's where I put deodorant. Where do you put deodorant?
How we ended up with some free deodorant, or maybe some free sunscreen that I put on that I guess nobody else did.
I did
too.
So anyway, my name's Marco. I'm a taproom manager here locally. I brew beer for several years commercially, and one of the other voices that you heard, the female voice, belongs to the best co-host in Podcastlandia.
I am Julia, and besides drinking all of the craft beer in Cincinnati, I want to shout out TonyZVoice.com for being kind of a new fan to the show, even though he hasn't listened yet. So it could be a terrible experience.
Is that
for
him right there?
That's him
Tony.
right now. Yeah.
Tony Z Voice.
Tony Z
Yes,
Voice.
TonyZVoice.com. I am excited to listen to his radio show once we're done here. So
Sounds great.
We should listen to it right now. We should just not do the show.
just not do the show and just play it.
Just punt.
We can do that. We
Punt.
can take a vote. Yeah, just punt. Yeah, you guys just get no content from us this week, and yeah.
See ya.
We'll be back next week. So
See ya. All
I'm
right,
going to start playing
Tony.
the outro music, and so we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
No.
Back.
Oh, we're back.
I thought I knew it was coming.
You never know.
Jeez.
We're gonna take a Dora walk and just put on a Bluetooth speaker and listen to Tony.
Whoa, we're not
taking
walking.
a door walk.
We're
That's
not
not
walking.
gonna happen.
No.
I don't do that anymore.
I told Julia to bring you a
Dora
relay
sit.
stick this week.
Yeah, the
I
relay
know.
stick.
Yeah, I think we threw that away, or Caroline
It
threw it
might
away
be.
or something.
It might be in my wife's backpack. So.
Oh, that's right. We did give it to your wife. Yeah. Oh well.
It was
Either
in
way.
a tube.
But there are two other voices on the show this week. You guys should be familiar with both of them. More familiar with one than the other. So, whichever one of you, since you are repeating guests, you don't get to introduce yourselves.
So I
do it
will
for you.
introduce the voice that you are possibly more familiar with. That is the voice of the Gnarly Gnome.
Okay.
As
Hey.
they both Spider-Man point to each other.
That's
like,
my intro. That's it. There's
That's
no
it,
kind
yeah.
of
No.
other lead up to that. That's,
No, he's
No.
actually the anchor leg for
Anchor, yeah.
Cincy Pod Squad and the Flying Pig.
And the godfather of Cincinnati craft beer podcasts.
Right, the
Which he
godfather.
hates that term.
I got
I'm
the
gonna
biggest
say.
medal, though. I'm just saying.
You did get the
You
biggest
did. You did.
You coordinated it all, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I'll
he-
just
like
tease you about it.
He
yeah.
coordinated all of. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he coordinated it all. I was totally fine
That's
with it.
not entirely true.
You paid
like,
for it.
I paid for it. I went on the website and entered in
Our
my
names.
name. I entered in all your names. You had to tell me all your stuff to put in there, but
I think you put in all of our shirt sizes wrong, though. Potentially.
I don't think I did. You guys told me what size to put in there, and I put it in.
So when
Beyond
we
that, I don't
talk
know.
about Weekly Pint and pig stuff, I'll give the
Right.
Caroline story of her
Caroline.
texting me going,
But
what shirt size do
to be
you want?
fair, I think Caroline
be
did
fair.
more actual
I would agree with that.
organizing than I did.
I
Caroline
agree,
did an
and she's
yes,
an
yes.
overachiever, and that's why
She's
we were
an
glad.
engineer and a scientist.
That's why we're glad that she was the one to, actually show up to the Expo Day
Convention. Yeah.
to make sure that we all got all the goodies.
Without her, we would have been naked and stinky.
Well, without her, we wouldn't have probably done it, and so
That's probably true.
Yeah, I don't think
It's
we're
her
going to
fault.
talk. I don't think we're going to talk our next guest into doing it with us.
No,
and our next
no.
guest is none other than a DIPA Josh. This is Julia's Josh.
welcome back.
Hello.
Back.
Glad that you're here.
Back.
I am glad as well. Josh,
here again.
there he is.
good, we're good.
I was going to say, you can feel free to speak whenever.
I said hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
A man of few words, but most of his words are important.
I'm just hanging out. Yep.
Yeah.
He speaks with a steely gaze.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's true. And the man bun.
Yeah.
The man bun says a lot.
Yes.
Radiates.
Glad we have in our sphere. I'm glad we have a representative of the man bun
It's true.
And of DIPAs. It's
and
Yes.
of dippas.
Yes,
yeah,
it's absolutely.
We always
Dippas.
need a DIPA.
We found out today that my hair is 5 times longer than
Than my hair.
Julia's.
Yeah. Yeah.
5 times.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
So I'm like,
pretty
okay,
long.
so
Yeah,
here's my ponytail. It's about the size of my hand. So I did hands
Yeah.
down his hair,
Okay.
and it's like 5 times longer than mine.
Gotcha.
So it's impressive.
That is impressive. I feel like Rapunzel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Until
all
I
the hair,
until
right?
I donate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Donate Rapunzel?
Yes.
Okay.
And his
A
locks.
DVD of the movie
Yeah.
Rapunzel.
I mean,
yes.
it's a nice donation.
Ah,
It's a good movie. I don't know what the problem is.
DVD of the movie. So, all the thoughts and opinions on this podcast are ours and ours alone. They do not reflect any entity which we may be affiliated with, such as full-time, part-time jobs, or higher gravity itself.
Or the
I'm
flying
speaking
pig.
about, or the flying pig. I'm speaking about Julie and myself. Honestly, DIPA Josh and the Gnarly Gnome can speak for wherever the fuck they want.
All of my thoughts and opinions represent Mick Ultra.
Ooh.
Excellent.
All right.
And DIPA Josh, do you have any thoughts or opinions?
No, and I don't use social media, so
Okay.
That's fair.
Okay.
So, no craft beer podcast would be a good craft beer podcast if we weren't having craft beer. And today we are. And of course, other times we have other things. I mean, sometimes we have, bourbon or tequila or highballs or mixed drinks, or sometimes we have non-alcoholic.
What about your
drinks.
balls?
Yeah. Well, it's cold. So,
Wait.
Hi.
Never mind. Never mind.
but today we are drinking craft beer. And so, Julia, what you drinking?
We're actually all drinking the same thing because of your generosity.
It's not entirely true.
Well,
I have something else.
You have the same thing we have and something else.
Mm-hmm.
So, Josh, do you want to read off what we have a little bit about it? Because you say you had the site
Sure,
pulled up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Marco purchased a bottle of Thank You 2024 from Maine Brewing Company.
I love Maine so much.
This is an annual release IPA, 6.2 ABV, dedicated to all who enjoy our beer. Without you, our commitment to nonprofit partners who champion animal protection, climate action, community service, equity and inclusion, land preservation, and outdoor recreation would not be possible.
Did they just throw every kind of thing into
I
the
think
same?
so.
I think it's
Yeah.
Also,
a blanket
yes,
thank you.
Yeah.
So it's
thank
an
you
annual
and
release, blanket thank
to
you.
all of the teachers and first responders, and to anybody
Cheesemongers.
anybody who
Fishmongers.
saves guinea pigs.
Yeah.
So-
So mark you. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Marco, thank you for the thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
It's good beer.
It's very good.
I'll finish this. They said our 1% for the planet giving combined with guest donations allowed our support of nonprofits to grow each year, exceeding $3 million since
Nice.
2009.
That's wonderful.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
it's
that a
good.
lot.
Very, very good.
It's very good.
Do we want to talk about some Cincinnati craft beer media content?
Yeah, since we're here.
Since we're here, we might as well.
Yeah.
All right, we
decided not to just shut it down.
Yeah, we almost did. You guys heard it. We almost just shut this down early, but we still have an obligation to talk about Cincinnati craft beer media. So we have 4 different things to talk about today. Did anyone?
Plus, I'm going to mention a fifth.
That's fair.
I'm just going to mention it.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm going to mention one too.
Cool.
A cousin posted a
Josh?
picture. That's beer
Don't
media.
mention it.
Are you gonna? All right. So the first thing is the Cincy 5 o'clock tales. They put on an episode
Yeah.
with Jake Rouse of Braxton. All right.
Oh, Molly.
I didn't watch this one.
Molly
I
Wellman.
missed it so far.
So far, they have video because they post Instagram
Yeah.
stories. I have not found like the YouTube channel
find
or
it.
where it is.
I
Where
can't find
where
it.
the
I
full
looked
videos
for it.
are. Yeah. So Molly or Abby, reach out to us. Let us know how to watch the content you're putting out because I
Yeah.
obviously don't know what I'm doing. We have an episode of, I'm going to do it early, the Cincinnati Brewcast.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cincinnati
Cheers.
Brewcast. So, for you first timers, by the way, thank you for coming along for the first time. For those who have been around a long time, thank you very much. What you know is that when we mispronounce or misspeak the name of the Cincy Brewcast, we all take a drink, as you should at home as well.
True
So
that.
it helps loosen things up at the beginning of the pod.
Yes.
As would Metamucil, if you need that for any reason. Shout out to Metamucil, new sponsor of the podcast.
And bonus points with your pinky extended.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of
Exactly.
extensions, never mind.
No. Let's see. We also have an episode of the Weekly Pint to talk about. That
We do.
was live on Monday, and an episode that also came out Monday. Brews Guys Booze News.
The Booze
on
News.
the YouTubes.
And I'm going to do a quick shout out and like maybe 60-second recap of A Dude and His Stout.
All right. Do we want to just get started with that since that'll
Sure.
be a short one? Okay.
So, A Dude and His Stout. It's a very infrequent posting podcast.
Extremely.
From Zach Holly, who is one of the founders of or creators or the whatever officials of 513
Craft Beer.
Facebook on
right? Is that right?
Facebook
group machine thing.
Yeah, the group machine thing. Meta.
Metaverse. It's in the metaverse.
It's about 20 minutes. Starts off with him talking about the stout and how he.
Was it a local stout?
No.
Oh, all right.
But he very quickly did transition into talking about a local stout, which
Okay,
was from
okay.
Swine City.
Okay, I was going to say points deducted, but then points given back.
This
All
is
right.
kind of the way this 20 minutes went, was local, not local. And then he
Okay.
just did a word salad
It's
of...
a lot of squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of squirrels.
All right.
So Mama Bear was away with friends, and he was watching the kid, and the kid was sleeping, and he went out on the deck or the porch. The porch. And was having a beer and just
Yelled at the neighbors.
yelled at the neighbors.
On the podcast, he yelled at the neighbors?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
So then he just would go from one thing to the next, talking about beer, but then really about personal stuff.
And then a lot of, get off my lawn.
Yeah, get off my lawn.
Quiet.
Okay.
And then he just dropped like the word salad of everybody you could think of who was a content creator and had a podcast or anything in an industry, and then he would forget some of the people involved that he really was passionate about these projects and all that, but he would forget, like in the
Like Marco and Joe Rogan. He thought that it was Marco and Joe Rogan that hosted the show.
And
You do a podcast with Joe Rogan?
what's really difficult
heard
is when I introduce Julia at the beginning of every podcast, it's tough to remember her name's Julia and not Julie.
Or Joe Rogan.
Or Joe Rogan. Or when you have the Brewery Explorers podcast, you've got Blake and the other guy.
Blake and Noah and
Eric
Joe Rogan.
and Joe Rogan.
But no, it's honestly, it was 20 minutes about him talking about a lot of different things in and out of the beer space and in and around a lot of stuff that's going on from either a Facebook group or a podcast. Or he talked about sharing beers a lot with Elijah, which we love Elijah, a friend of the show, Elijah.
Until he ties us to the tracks, he is a friend of the show.
Yeah,
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
We may mention that a little bit later.
It's true. Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's a 20-minute listen. It will only take 20 minutes of your time. So if you have any interest in finding out what Zach has to say about so many different things about beer and beer podcasters, go and check out that 20 minutes.
So this may be a podcast that, much like the Beers and Beards podcast, even though it's local or semi-local, it doesn't always, every episode's not always going to fit our wheelhouse, so it's not always going to get a mention, but it is out there.
I will
so
say-
if you have an interest, definitely subscribe, check it out.
I will say, I think he believes his podcast is hitting every platform, and
Okay.
to this date, it is not.
It's not showing up on our podcatcher, but that doesn't mean that ours just
Showing up
isn't
in mine.
back. Okay. So
It's definitely it's in Overcast. It's in Apple. Like it's
Okay.
there.
Okay, so Pocket Cast just might not have refreshed something like
Maybe
that.
next week.
Well, I mean, it might be another 6 months to a year before another episode comes out.
Who knows?
You never know.
And
We'll
that's
find out.
never know.
My advice: take it or leave it. Whatever. I'm not some kind of godfather of podcasting like people like to pretend. I don't know everything. However, my advice.
Consistency.
You don't have. Well, not even that. Like you don't have to cram everything into one 20-minute episode, especially if you're recording an episode sitting on your porch for 20 minutes. You can do that more frequently and spread things out. You don't have to squeeze it all into one little ball. Like,
Yeah.
let it breathe.
That's fair. Yeah.
The little balls.
Yeah. Let the little balls breathe.
Let the balls breathe. Did we want to start with all things gnome. Did we want to start with Brew Sky's Booze News or with kind of a new one? I don't think we've talked about any of their episodes before. The Cincy 5 O'Clock Tales podcast.
Josh.
You haven't.
He doesn't do social media, guys. He can't comment.
He has been trying so hard to like step away from the chaos that we have created that he's like, I don't know.
Let's do the second one.
The second one. So Brew Sky's
Booze News.
Or Cincy Brewcast. Second in my notebook or second that I just mentioned?
Whatever
See,
you want to do.
he is already
Yeah.
freaking out.
We'll do the second one.
The second one of the second one that you just said, the second thing.
We'll start with Brew Sky's Booze News.
Okay.
Yeah, because I believe
that one.
that was the second most recent episode that came out. Because
It is the second most recent, yes.
correct, it's not the anyway. It doesn't matter.
I'm confused.
It doesn't matter exactly. Brew Sky's Booze News that came out on the YouTubes on May the 6th of 2024. How craft beer can get its groove back. Again, great styling by Mike and Brett. They looked fantastic in this episode.
Yeah.
It's getting warmer again, so they're starting to get a
They're
little
getting
more
very fancy now that they're both
glistening and
authors.
glowing. And I mean,
Yeah.
they're published authors. I got my copy of Tanked in Cincinnati from the evil Jeff Bezos in the mail yesterday, so I have my copy. I have yet to start it because I've been dying trying to recover from the pig.
Did it have a signature butt print in it?
The Amazon copies do not have signature butt prints.
Oh, okay.
No,
That's disappointing.
I know.
I'm sure they'll
I know.
print it for you at
Missing Link Fest, yeah. They're going to have, in addition to selling their book at Missing Link Fest, they're also going to have just 8x11s just printed out of butt prints. Yeah. So you can get that signed or the book signed,
It's
whatever.
going to be Brett sitting in paint, stamping books all day.
Yes.
I would
Yeah.
totally buy that.
But will he be
100%
will he be
buy
doing
a butt
that
print.
in the Sasquatch
Yes,
costume or
obviously.
without? Okay.
Obviously. He'll be grumpy and sweaty.
Sounds like him all the time. He is always grumpy and sweaty.
That's true.
Yeah. This episode started off with Mike can save anything. He announced it at
Yeah,
the beginning of
I
the
buy it.
show,
He
and
did.
he said, "You know what? I can do this. No matter what is happening with craft beer or with spirits or with Drake and Diddy and who else is in weird things, he can save the world."
He's got a proven track record.
He really does.
He really does.
yeah,
I mean, he's
yeah.
a professor, historian,
A lawyer.
author, lawyer.
He saved Bachfest.
He saved Bachfest.
I mean, how
He
many
helped
more?
with Missing
how many
Link Fest. What else? What
how many
can
more
he not
credentials do
do?
you need before you know this guy can save shit?
He needs to be
An
judge.
S on his chest.
He needs to be judge of the Pickle Day pickle eating competition at Urban Artifact over this summer. That's what he still needs to do.
I'm down with that.
Okay, all right.
He would just make fun of everybody for eating pickles and drinking pickle beer.
Right.
That's what you do as a judge, right?
Maybe.
Isn't that what Mark Borison does during the Pickle Day pickle
I don't know
eating
what he
contest? Okay. Maybe we should all go and find out.
Maybe. We should do that. Let's go. Get in the truck.
Get in the truck. I'd be down.
Get the pickles.
Which you can also get at Jungle Gyms. Beer sales are way up according to the Beer Purchasers Index. Not necessarily craft beer, but just beer as a whole.
well, not
So does
necessarily
that-
means not craft,
Craft
beer.
beer.
Definitely not craft beer. But we train people with our craft beer to drink not craft beer. What do we expect them to drink? Not craft. Why is this confusing?
Like when you have a non-craft beer tap handle at a craft brewery, and you're offering that non-craft beer at a lower price point
in addition,
than your own beers.
In addition,
why-
every craft brewery is trying to make a beer that tastes like not craft beer.
Right, exactly, but still keep it craft.
What are we
right,
doing?
Right. I don't know.
course,
I
of
don't
course.
know. I don't know. Moving from that into wine news, is Virginia the next California?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. They can try.
I've been watching the OC a lot lately, and
Do you
it
think-
tracks. Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, so did you guys talk about Virginia being the next California as far as wine when
No,
I
we
went
stopped.
to? Okay,
We
all
waited
right.
for you.
No, you ran away.
Okay, well, I did. I was like, I don't want to talk about this. It makes me uncomfortable. I'm going to go. So,
They can try, in my opinion, and I think it's a worthy cause. Go ahead and try, because in 10 years, your wine is going to grow leaps and bounds from year one, and then in 20 years, your wine is going to be that much better. And so you can't have a lineage or a wine history until you start. So go ahead and
That's
start.
true.
I mean,
So
a baby born today when they're of drinking age, the wine is going to be so much different and more refined, and it's gonna have an identity of that terroir, so to speak. And so why not? Go ahead.
Okay.
Wine
Do it.
not.
Wine not.
Wow.
Nice.
That's why you're here.
That is exactly what
Jesus.
Josh. He picks up on these. He is fantastic. So if Virginia is the next California for wine, who will be the next Virginia? Like, where is that third
Oklahoma.
step? Oklahoma.
I agree.
Okay.
Gotta be Oklahoma.
So I was thinking Oklahoma.
Where the grapes go rolling down the plains. Or
Exactly.
something like that?
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Don't give me that look.
Josh has this look like
Why are you questioning this?
like
It makes
someone
perfect
farted.
sense.
I mean, what happened?
I am just sitting here. That's all.
All right. Let's see. What else do we have in this episode? Cold beverages taste less. And that was part of their bullshit science corner. Like,
I think we
if
learned
it's colder, it doesn't. There's not as much taste
No.
to a beverage.
it just tastes more like water. Is what we
Which-
learned.
Which
Right,
I get.
that's
Which
what
I
they
guess
said.
it
The
could
colder
be
it
taste
is,
less.
the more of the water you taste.
Is that
Right.
implying it's just over ice?
No, just
No,
colder.
no,
Like
so
just
when it's-
colder. So like if you take any beverage has water in it. So if you take a
Right.
beer and you make it cold, you're going to taste more of the water in the beer. If you take tea and you make it cold, you're going to taste more of the water in the tea.
Because
That-
the ethanol molecules.
That's why
I guess
Get
there's no
closer
as
ethanol.
it
together,
warms
right,
up, you taste more of the other
Bojangles.
flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Bojangles. The dangles and the Bojangles.
What's your angle?
The angle of the Bojangle.
That was well, we'll get to that in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll absolutely do that.
Teabag.
If it's carbonated, it's a soda. Hard stuff.
I
Hard
find
stuff.
that I
This
find
is
that
according.
really
This is Brett and
Meh.
Mike's truth.
I disagree.
I agree with you.
I'm pretty much an expert
However,
in
he's-
putting things in my face.
I feel
is
that's
also
a
true.
simpleton's too simple delineage of what a soda is. Like that.
Well, but
like,
wouldn't
it's
that
a soda
also-
once you add bubbles. Like,
well, but wouldn't that also
yeah, but
mean
my
that they would have
backwater's
to,
not soda.
to Oh no!
What?
Oh,
It's naturally
no,
carbonated.
No.
Soda tastes like tacos.
Yeah.
Soda tastes like
Hold on a second.
Okay. No.
tastes like Chipotle.
what-
What else makes you go?
White Castle.
Whoa, White
The
Castle.
White Castle
no,
variant.
No, that does a whole different thing.
But if they're trying to do that, if they're trying to
You ever
say,
been to White Castle and they're
Oh.
hiding? They won't answer. They're just hiding. They're like, I can see you.
You're standing
What?
there.
You're standing right there.
You're holding a White Castle in front of your face. I can still see you.
what I didn't understand about this news story or this thing that the lawmakers are trying to do, if they are saying that anything that's carbonated is classified as a soda and so it has to be taxed as such, wouldn't that completely change how beer is? Like, wouldn't they have to redo the taxation for so many beverages that are sold?
No,
how
I would
they,
think alcohol is separate from soda.
Even carbonated?
If
Okay,
that
okay.
statement is what they're saying, that anything carbonated, then yeah, that would
is
get
a
very
air
confusing.
quote
But that's
soda.
not. That's
Okay.
not really what
they're still
going to
have a
happening, yeah.
delineator between.
They want to
alcoholic
start
and
taxing all of the
non-alcoholic.
fizzy waters and that kind of stuff.
So a
which-
tonic would be a soda?
Yes,
I don't even know what that is.
I think
What is a tonic?
like a tonic water,
tonic.
soda water.
Tonic.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Tonic water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a soda.
That's
Liquid
what they're
death,
trying to
but
say.
liquid death
Tonic,
soda.
Correct.
Tonic is different than just soda water.
Yes.
And so a tonic would be, but when you're merging water and gas, say at a soda gun, it's not.
Okay.
Ooh, so,
different.
so that's an interesting point. When do they tax it? Before it goes
It's a
through the soda
package.
gun
It's in a
or
package.
after?
Yeah.
You know?
Package.
Okay. All right. Pot news, because we now know that they have the cannabis corner section of Brewcast Booze News. The feds are changing weed, or they're working on changing pot from a Schedule 1 drug to a Schedule 3 drug, which is so beyond overdue. All I can say is it's about fucking time.
All I can say is that the education that Mike takes us through in this episode is extremely insightful from his perspective, and something that, of course, a child growing up at the age that I am had no insight to whatsoever. I was already at the point when I was in grade school where we were being told by Barbara Bush.
This is your brain on drugs.
This is your brain on drugs, and
You went
just
through
say
dare.
no. And if you take a hit or a toke off
Every
a joint,
time-
you're
every
going to
ti-
end up digging ditches.
Every time I look at heroin now, I think of scrambled eggs, and I get really hungry, and I get it's very confusing.
So I mean, it's
For an omelet.
it's kind of interesting,
Especially
when
the
he takes
Rachel
you-
Lee Cook version of that ad.
Yeah.
Don't know what that is.
The Julia Child version. Like, take and scramble some eggs.
Take your heroin and put it with it. It's like a mix between.
I was going to say, it sounds like Bill Cosby.
It's like Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, ugh.
It's more.
The heroin and you mix
No, I
it
was-
with
More,
Right, I was
more,
doing-
more
I was-
roofies in the Cosby version.
I was doing like the female version, but if you want to take the Bill Cosby version and put the roofie in the beer.
Goodness.
Oof.
Oof.
Aw.
I would say too soon, but absolutely not.
And the Jello pudding bop.
No. Nope, not going to go into it completely. Nope, just no. Just no.
How do we transition that one?
I'm just gonna. No, I'm not even
Bush.
gonna try
Okay,
to transition.
got that.
I'm just
Bill
gonna do
Cosby,
like
okay. I
a
don't know
hard.
how those connect.
I'm just gonna do a hard cut into the next part of it, which was the main story
hard
for
cut.
this episode.
Okay.
Kind of
How craft beer can get its groove back. Craft beer.
Yeah.
How do we fix craft with declining drinking populations and lower numbers on the sales of craft beer? Mike
Drink-
had a thought of
drink-
how to.
drinking
fix it.
populations are not declining. People are
What they're
drinking just
drinking-
as much as they ever have before, and that's
But
what I think
what they're
people are.
drinking, yeah, you are correct. You're correct. That was kind of a misspeak on my side, just from the random short notes I take. But no, you're right. But what they're drinking and kind of the trends of what they're drinking
Mm-hmm.
is, for whatever reason, shifting a little bit away from
I don't-
craft beer.
I think we can, and I don't want to oversimplify this. People
It's
who
a huge
like
complex thing, right?
people who care to like craft beer are willing to pay more for a craft beverage than a Modelo or
Agreed.
than a Bud Light. The problem is what the craft beer industry is forced to do because of inflationary costs is start pricing themselves out of everyday drinking.
No.
And what is happening is a price of a pint or a price of a six-pack is forcing a lot of people to make hard decisions, and this has been happening a long time. Now, craft beer drinkers can choose to curtail their drinking in craft and maybe supplement with other
cheaper
products,
non-craft
cheaper
option,
non-craft options. It's not that they care for craft any less. It's that where by volume you could have said it's $2 more for a craft beer versus a domestic. Now it's a larger gap, and I think that's part of the problem. I don't think that's the only reason for the problem.
I think it's way more complicated than that. I think when the market starts to shift a little bit, a lot of breweries who I think there is still confusion about who they are or why they exist. For them, I still think they don't know why they're in business. When the market shifts just a little bit, they try to react to that and they try to do something to match that. And so they see, oh no, people don't want craft beer right now. They want seltzer. We're going to make seltzer, and we're going to flood our taps with seltzer and things that kind of match that feeling. And then that's what people have. That's their option when they walk in somewhere, and they're like, oh, I'm supposed to drink seltzer now. And so that's what they drink. Or I'm supposed to drink, canned cocktails, or I'm supposed to drink actual cocktails, or I'm supposed to drink, whatever. There's an easier way to do this, and that's just to know who you are, make what you want to make, and people will come. People will come and drink it. Your sales will go up, and they will go down, and it'll flex, and it'll change, and that's part of the whole thing.
It kind of goes
but
back
I
to what we
think-
talked about, I think, last week with everywhere doesn't have to be everything to everyone.
Exactly.
But
Do what you want to do, and like you said, the people that want, they just want to drink lagers, they're going to go to the breweries that make great lagers. If you
Yeah.
want stouts, they're going to go to the breweries that do great stouts.
And there will be years.
And if they want a seltzer, they're going to go to the brewery that has a seltzer offering they enjoy.
And there will be years that the place down the street that makes a whole bunch of stouts does better than you. And you're going to get mad. And you're going to be like, you know what? That's bullshit. I've been making lagers for the entire time I've been around. Don't people understand how good my lagers are? I'm going to make a stout, and I can make it better than them. And that's not the right way to do it.
I don't disagree with you, Gnome or Julia, but what I will say is that this survey, this study, was for beer buyers, for beer buyers and retail and like
big box and all that, not necessarily
big box and then chain restaurants.
Sure.
So what I'm talking about is the cost of a craft beer, and so yes, we can go back to people needing to understand their identity and lean into their identity, but this survey is talking about what people are buying at these big box retailers or beer buyers for large chains. And so I still think that the price of what they're charging for what these craft breweries is producing is kind of moving some of this buying action.
I disagree 100%.
So
that's fine.
What I'm curious about is, and this is kind of trying to tie back a little bit into what they talked about in this episode, is one, what you just said, Marco. These numbers are coming from the beer buyers, the people that are buying to put into big box stores, grocery stores, gas stations, places that sell more kind of by a volume than
so loud.
Than like out of the tap room. So what is that going to do? How will those numbers change when locally Kroger no longer carries as much craft? How is that going to shift the numbers locally when you have to use the tap room to get your 6-pack of, and I'm pulling these brewery names just out of the air. This doesn't mean anything, but like a Grainworks or a, we'll pretend that Urban Artifact suddenly disappears from Kroger shelves. How will that affect the numbers from, the beer purchasers index? Because again,
that matters
it's not going to
lot.
show the whole picture. It's just going to show what's hitting.
That's why
big market.
That's why
and
Scan Data and IRI is only those locations, like those places. However, that's a large volume that runs through those things.
2 or 3 other comments on
it's a good
this.
way to wrap it up.
One of those ties directly into kind of what you said. Brewery should just
rabbits and cereal?
No, not rabbits and cereal, but
that's what I said.
Quality. Make quality products and what aligns with your values and not just what sells is something that Brett and Mike were both saying. And also they talked a little bit about how a decade, 2 decades ago, craft beer had a nemesis with big beer, with the national brands, some of the international brands. Is that what could potentially save craft beer? Craft beer doesn't necessarily have this big nemesis anymore. Does craft beer need a new nemesis to try and create a resurgence? I don't think so, but I thought that was a very interesting point. They touched on Jim Cook and AB InBev and all that. I thought that it was very interesting, but again,
there were a couple of decades where, craft beer was craft beer because it was an alternative to
big beer, right? Sure,
big beer, mass-produced beer.
Sure. And even though that still exists, it's not as much.
No,
I think it's all still so easy. Like it's like you can base all of like your personality on fighting somebody else or being friends with somebody else in the world. We've got this great community and like we're all friends and we do this thing together. That's great, but it's you're still not understanding who you are. That's the only thing that's going to save craft beer is craft breweries understanding who they are.
Hashtag
and owning it.
Put the craft back in craft.
Know who you are. That's all it is for any business.
I hesitate to ask this question because of how long this has already gone on, but before I get to the sip count and a multiple choice question.
Oh, wow.
Does anyone else have any other notes on this episode that they want to mention before?
I think if I did, I should just
spin up a whole new podcast just based on
I think I should just shelf it. Okay. So let's move on.
All right. Sip count. I'm going to do that first because that's the quick one. Mike took 13 sips. Brett took 27 sips.
Okay.
That's a grand total of 40 sips, or per our drinking game, 80 ounces.
80 ounces.
I've got a theory about this whole sip count.
There's no theory. We've explained exactly what it is.
No, it's not about that.
Oh, okay.
Brett always takes more sips. It's because Mike talks too much, and Brett just has to sip.
fill in.
It's not that he drinks
He
more. It's
sips
just
and looks straight. He sips and looks
Just
straight
stares
with
at the
camera.
waiting for Mike to stop.
Yeah. He stares into your soul while Mike is talking.
And then when he hears some like bomb from Mike, he just like he
Deer
either
the headlights, like, oh.
doesn't blink or he blinks twice.
It's a tell.
Save me.
It's a tell. Please. It's an SOS. If you watch him blinking, it's SOS over and over and over throughout the episode. So that is 80 ounces of liquid. That is 5 pints that you would need to drink playing this drinking game during this 27-minute episode.
Yeah, let's get 5 pints.
Jesus.
Let's do it.
We need 5 pints.
We can do it.
How about instead of that, we do the multiple choice question and then keep on going so this isn't a 3-hour
All right, let's go.
episode.
I was
All
going to
right.
do 5 pints. That was going to be more fun.
My multiple choice question for Brewsky's Booze News from May the 6th, how
podcasting with
craft
your mom.
beer can get his groove back. Is Mike getting laid? A,
No.
A, yes. B, no. Or C, close but not quite.
It's a published author. He's getting laid.
Julia is a D. He's married a long time, and we know what that means. He gets the occasional birthday or Christmas. That's about it.
He's getting waylaid. All right. Do we need to take a break before we move on to the next podcast?
I'm a beer named Gnome.
Is that what you're drinking?
No.
What are you
It's not a
drinking?
thing.
Oh,
I don't know.
it should be.
Forgot. What am I drinking? I always forget to look. Oh, this is Beer Garden.
Beer Garden
from Sonder.
I also
Oh,
have
nice,
that.
nice. All right, and that's the West Coast IPA.
West Coast
I
from
don't know.
Sonder,
Hang on.
yeah.
That's what it says. Let me try it and tell you.
Do a little sippy.
It smells kind of West Coasty.
Is it a
It's
blah, blah, blah.
it's not as bitter. It's not as bitter
Is it a
as
soft West Coast?
soft
That's the
West.
true question.
Yeah, it's the Soft West.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's good.
Southwest.
Marco?
Soft West.
I
Southwest.
have Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
Oh, is that new?
It's a new one.
Nice.
New to the pod.
New to the pod, fantastic.
Do I sound all right?
No, I didn't have the sliders all the way up, so
Okay.
that's
Okay,
that's
so
on me.
sounded
not
weird
on
to
you.
me
No,
too,
yeah, I didn't have
That's
sliders.
good.
I know. I looked down. I'm like, oh, oops. And I am drinking. Josh picked this out for me from Mast Landing Brewing Company. A beer named Duck.
All right.
It's a New England DIPA. So
all right.
we'll see how.
Remember
we'll see how it
Howard the
goes.
Duck?
I do remember Howard the Duck. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that was poor. Was that Tay Leoni that was also in that?
Was it?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah.
That movie's really hard to watch.
I haven't watched it in years. I would like to actually watch
That's not
that.
bad. Not bad. All right. Because we are already like really, really deep in the weeds in time on this, let's just run into
It's the internet. You can do whatever you want.
I can cut this. Patreon, you're welcome for all the extra stuff. We're going to talk about the Cincy.
Yeah, Leah Thompson.
Leah Thompson. Yes.
Yeah, it's Leah Thompson.
I think Leah Tony was a singer maybe in the...
Tia Leoni.
Yeah.
No, she's in-
Or was she married to David Duchovny? What? Who's Tia Leoni?
She was in.
Who am I thinking of?
She was a co-star with Jim Carrey in. What's that one movie?
Oh, the one movie. The movie.
Not Ace Ventura.
No.
Fun with Dick and Jane, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Wasn't
Correct.
that Tia Leoni?
You are correct. Fun with
Nice.
Dick and Jane.
Okay.
Nice. Well, all right then.
I saw her face in my head. I just
Madam
couldn't-
Secretary,
I
The
couldn't,
Family.
I couldn't remember anything.
Jurassic Park 3. You remember Deep Impact? She was in Bad Boys.
Bad boys.
Spanglish.
The Family Man.
Remember that smash hit Spanglish?
No.
Or
It's
Tower
not-
Heist?
Yeah, I prefer
not
her in
bad,
Tower
but-
Heist.
How about League of Their Own?
I like that, but who was she in?
She was really, really good in There's No Food in Heaven.
classic. A classic.
What about the...
Everyone's seen that one.
Did you ever see her in the House of D? That's not a joke.
Oh
That's
my
an actual
God.
movie.
House of... Wow. Oh, jeez. The Cincy 5 O'Clock Tales with Molly Wellman and Abby Cummins. This is Season 1, Episode 9, Derby Days and Cincy Nights, celebrating the season with Braxton Brewing, which I feel like is kind of odd because even though Braxton has a Cincy location, whenever I hear Braxton and Cincy, it's I don't
Yeah.
know, it's just a little
It's all
odd.
Cincinnati.
It's fine.
Like,
It
it's
is
all
all
part of the same
Cincinnati, but
city.
yes. Jake Rouse was the guest, and if you don't know who he is, you've never listened to anything.
He's
Cincinnati
the Body
Craft
by
Beer
Jake
Breweries.
guy.
He is the Body by Jake guy. He sells all kinds of fantastic, exercise equipment, and he
Sports cards.
and sports car. Well, is that him or his dad? They did
That's-
touch on that
that's
farther
him.
on.
Yeah,
That's
it's
all the same. All the same. Braxton reached out to Molly to help develop Braxton's new cocktail program, and what I thought was interesting about the beginning when they started talking about this. She said, "So you guys aren't distilling?" He said, "No, not yet."
Oh
Right.
yeah, I had the same
Yet.
conversation.
Nice. So right now they are partnering, or maybe they have. Again, there was some interesting phrasing used in this conversation
I don't
about
think- I don't-
OKI distilling or OKI bourbon. I might have misread.
Aren't those campgrounds too?
That's
No, KOI.
No, KOI.
Oh, okay.
Campgrounds
So
of
Close.
instead of Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, it's
Campground with a K.
it's Kentucky,
yeah.
Ohio, Indiana.
Indiana.
What does it
Yeah.
stand for? KOI, camping.
It's the.
Is it KOA? It's KOA.
KOA.
Campgrounds of America. It's not
Okay.
KOI. It's
All right.
KOA.
But still, why a K and not a C? Why isn't it COA?
Because you can't trademark that. Somebody else had it.
Fine. This is going to be their kickoff with OKI Bourbon. That happened on Derby Day, so this past weekend, so prior to us recording this.
Right.
They talked about the return of My Fest, which we've mentioned several times on Cincy
Julia
Beer
Fest?
events.
It's Mayfest.
Mayfest.
It's
Why did I
pronounced
say
Mayfest.
my? I don't know what I'm
'Cause
doing anymore.
MAI makes
I'm
sense,
looking
but
at it.
it's May.
Mayfest.
Mayfest.
It
It's
celebrates
gonna be
spring.
May.
It already is. Yeah.
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 Let's
is.
see.
She's right, it is.
Mayfest is back after 5 years. It is happening
Back.
May 17th through the 19th, and Braxton is going to be providing the beer at Mayfest. So
Oh, good.
head down to Goble Park, celebrate. We've been telling you about it on Cincy Beer events for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah. We'll be at some shit fest. What
Oakley Beer Fest.
Oakley Beer Fest. That's
Some
where-
shit fest.
Should have brought tickets.
Wow.
This
Yeah.
Oh,
week
you
for
should have.
We should get some tickets away.
We should.
Can
Well,
we do that on the show?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Let's do that like right now. I'm gonna.
Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it during your
No, let's
show's
do it now.
recaps?
No, let's
okay.
do it right now.
All right.
Before I
how do you
forget.
how do you want to do this?
I'm gonna.
This is cool. This is a Truth Beer Pod first.
Should we
Nice.
should we hide some tickets somewhere? That might be fun.
And
be
someone's
fun.
chocolate butthole.
I don't have any right
No.
now. So this
What?
what day is this post on
This will post on Friday.
Friday? So if I can hide tickets by Friday,
It's been very rainy, so they'd have to be hidden
No, I
indoors
got
somewhere.
that. Yeah, I'll hide them indoors. I don't know.
Come out
Behind
Friday
bar.
the 10th.
I grab it.
Yeah, but I don't have them with me right now, and I don't know if I can get
okay.
back here by.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's do.
Sandy
No,
Stagecoach.
we'll make it easy.
Oh,
We'll
how about-
let's do for this. I'll do a pair for this one, and
Okay.
this one you need to send me an email
Okay.
or a social media message. We
Which
gotta-
one?
should we do it?
Because
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Code word.
email address.
Huh?
Is it gnome@thegnarlynome.com?
Yeah, but or just social media, wherever you
Well,
want to.
but you say email, but a lot of people might not
Message.
know what email
Then
it is.
just send me a message
Fine.
on social media. Just
Fine.
that's part of
Physical
the game.
piece of mail with a stamp.
I
That
think-
works too.
I think
just
the
get
more-
in touch with me
Send
somehow.
Send a carrier
with,
pigeon.
I think the more fun part is what's the code word?
with
Yes.
the code word, and that is caramel malt.
Oh, I was gonna go
Ooh.
sunburn.
I like
That's
that.
two
Sunburn's
words.
good.
That's 2 words.
No, you got to make it one.
The code
It has to be
phrase.
together.
Ooh.
No
Gotta be one
spaces.
word.
Caramel
No spaces.
malt.
Caramel malt. Caramel malt.
All right.
One word.
Okay,
Send.
So get
Or
get to me.
caramel, as some say.
Yeah.
Get to me somehow. Send me a message with caramel malt as one word, and I'll get you a pair of tickets.
Dope.
right.
And then maybe pay attention to social media because I'm gonna hide some tickets somewhere. I think that's fun.
All right.
Dude, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
At the
I
bottom
love
of a
it.
bar stool somewhere. Just stay tuned.
Taped to the bottom. I like that.
Yeah, just underneath. I'm not gonna tell anybody they're there.
I promise I won't go find them because I already won tickets.
you've got a 4-pack,
Yeah, I got a 4-pack.
which I should have brought to you today so that I would not forget.
It's going to be myself, and I think my wife has already said that she's busy. So, John Lee.
All right.
Ooh.
I'm putting it out there. John Lee, if you listen to the pod, and I'll communicate with you soon. John Lee, myself, John Lee, and then we have Julia and DIPA Josh. We're all going on the Gnomes free tickets
Heck
to
yeah.
The Oakley Beer
the Oakley Beer Fest.
on May 18th.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Going back to this episode, they talked about being asked to be in the airport at CVG. So that's a pretty big deal for Braxton.
That's pretty awesome.
So now
They could have said no, but they said yes.
But they're like, absolutely, we want to be in
Yeah.
there. And so when you are flying in or out of CBG, your red-eye flight, you can already be blasted on Braxton beer.
And tacos. They have tacos.
I mean, it's a win-win.
Make it truly a red-eye flight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what you need. Some tacos, get things going, get in the tube, and get in the bird and head somewhere.
Mm-hmm. They do.
The tube bird.
Why does too much Top Gun?
Why does
got the need for
Why does
speed.
every conversation at this table end up going to like tubular something?
Yeah.
Tubular meats,
Tubular travel.
birds, tubular travel,
Or poop.
Tubular.
which is tubular.
or
well,
like
should be.
tubular answers.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Did
Oh
you
my
get that?
goodness!
Everybody put your tubes away.
They
It was impromptu, but I hit it.
impromptu.
Get your dingle with the dangle off the table.
I like that impromptu.
Yeah.
They talked about the difference between. I say they. Jake talked about the difference between each of the Braxton spaces, including how the Union location is going to be different to all of them, but still have that same Braxton feel to it.
Yeah.
It was a very energetic episode.
Yeah.
They both Molly, Abby, and Jake all had a lot of energy talking about Braxton and what they're doing. There was a lot of excitement about the Fort Mitchell Barrel House and what they're going to be able to do with that, especially with bringing the OKI bourbon into the space as Bourbon.
We're scratching the surface right now, I think.
It's Bourbon Tuesdays. We haven't had any bourbon here.
This is true.
All right, let's go.
Well,
I thought it was
look,
Tequila Tuesday.
Not right
yet.
now. Not yet.
There's another couple weeks. It's more
it's
summer
Bourbon
seasonal.
Tuesdays.
Yes. So this is
I
something
know
else.
Gnome's ready. We'll
This
do
is
it.
something else that I thought was interesting as far as the phrasing that was used in this episode. Molly said that Braxton had purchased OKI. No one of those three clarified the statement or corrected
I did
the
hear
statement.
that.
They did not purchase
on
OKI.
if it was the brand, just bottles
Yes.
for the cocktail program. But I did think it was interesting because, again, earlier Jake had mentioned that they're not distilling yet, so who knows? Maybe Braxton will.
She's
move
not
into
wrong. They
the
purchased
sure.
Okay, yeah.
But
OKI,
the way,
bought a bunch of
not,
but the way
but
that
not
Right.
the brand OKI.
but the way that it was said made me go, I might spin this into my truth
Yeah,
for
that's
our
good.
show.
Sure.
So watch.
Sure.
Well, I say watch. You can't find. I can't find this on YouTube. I can't find the videos that I know
doesn't
exist
exist.
for this, except for little individual clips on social media.
That's all
on
anybody cares about
Instagram.
is little clips.
I'd like to watch the whole thing.
me too.
Especially because in a lot of their episodes, they're like, stay to the end of the episode to watch how Molly makes the cocktails that they're drinking on this
But not
episode.
only that,
but then the
there
podcast
were
cuts
hats.
off and you don't get it.
But there were hats.
There were derby
There were
hats.
derby hats.
No one got to see them. Terrible.
Terrible.
Absolutely terrible.
say it is Charles Barkley, and
Let's see. They also talked about Braxton being community.
I love when she just ignores you.
I'm trying so hard to
Poor
keep
Charles.
this. Charles, I'm sorry, but we have already spent so much time in this episode, and we still have 2 more shows to get through. So it's not Charles. It's not you. It's me.
That's what everybody says. It's not true. It's you, Charles.
They talked about Braxton's community collaborations with graders and how they are a fairly big part of the community as far as how they're getting into there. And then because and
You
and
don't
I-
have to touch everything that you was gonna, but go ahead.
No, you know what? I'm kind of done then. Fun rapid fire questions, and they have not stopped looking for other locations to expand to. And I have a multiple choice question.
Okay.
Since Charles doesn't want me to talk about the episode, fine.
I feel
We'll
like
just-
Charles should be part of the multiple choice questions.
Did anyone else have anything on this episode before the multiple choice question? I hate that we kind of rushed
I
through
think
it.
the mom
but
of the
again, we
podcast is
kinda-
telling us to shut the fuck up.
I think so too.
I might kind of be doing that a little bit. What product did Braxton make that did not go over so well? Was it A, a THC beverage?
Mm-hmm.
Was it B, Vive? Or was it C, cider? Oh,
Oh,
good.
the D, Julia, was it a hot sweet tea?
I mean, I gotta give it to Charles on this one. He brought the massive D
That
on
was
that
a big D.
one. That was a very big D. Thank you, Charles.
I love hard sweet
I'm
tea.
an NBA player. I got a massive D. That's what I was known for as a
You were on the
mound,
defense, yeah.
like a mound of rebound.
If the big D at the end of the question is hard sweet tea. Give it to me all day.
What do you say, since we all still have pretty... let's move on to, do you want to go to the Weekly Pint or Cincy Brewcast?
Josh, you gotta choose for us. I think you've said 3 words this entire show.
I'm just like I said at the start of this. I'm hanging out. Let's do Cincy Brewcast.
All right. Volume 10, Episode 6, Dead Low Brewing and Being More Than Just a Brewery. This was a very quiet episode.
Quiet?
Like, my first thought was there is nothing happening in the background.
Okay,
It
I
was
like that.
very...
There was a leaf blower.
You could say,
At one point, there was a leaf blower I had to filter
Yes.
out. That was tough. It was really loud.
But I felt like there was a small section. I even
Okay.
wrote it down in my notes. Like, there's no background noise. It was very quiet for the first 10 to 15 minutes, and then there was music in the background.
A little bit of
and then,
music,
and then the music went away, and it went back to like nothing. And,
Well, that's 'cause-
and it was so weird because I kept.
So I think they came in from downstairs, turned the music on, came up, saw we were recording, went, oh, shit, and they turned it off.
it
you
off.
could say the background music or the background was dead low.
Oh,
Because
Nice.
it was, I get it. I get it because it was quiet. Low, dead, low, quiet. I get that.
It was
get
low
jokes.
hanging fruit. Dead low hanging fruit.
Ooh, wow.
Josh.
Great to be here. Great to be here.
You had Brock Lush and Chris Cooper on the show as
Coop.
the guests. Good old Coop. It started with how the beer has changed while still keeping the core beers around and just trying to improve them,
I'm fascinated by that.
like the malt liquor.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the malt liquor
Yes.
has never been around. It's been talked
the way you
about
say that.
since they opened their doors.
Okay.
They've never made it until he came along.
Gotcha. Okay, so I
is
misunderstood that
even
part
more
of the
fascinating to
conversation.
me.
Okay.
They've talked about it since day one.
Gotcha. So I misunderstood that part of the of the interview then, because it sounded like it was a thing, and then it kind of went away, and then it's
Never
like,
a
you know
thing.
what? Let's kind of make sure that we're bringing back.
What is a malt liquor? Does anybody know?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
No.
it's
It's what Westside put in the beer vent box.
So
a couple
what is
years
it?
Back. You know, it's malted liquor.
yeah.
Okay.
You know.
Isn't a malt liquor just like a higher ABV beer?
Sort of. And this is it negates the whole joke, but I think it's like
matter.
I think it's a high ABV cream ale. I think.
Okay,
I
yeah.
think.
Okay,
Is what I. It's fine.
Yeah.
Talking about flights, which is something that has been a topic of conversation in a lot of the craft beer spheres for the past
Ooh.
few weeks.
Those are some hard words to put together.
They really were. And I like what you said. Sometimes you need a full half a pint to really understand
Yes.
and appreciate a beer. Sometimes tasters aren't enough, but at the same time, if you want to experience...
Still let me have the tasters.
Right, exactly. And like,
Give me the option.
Right, if you want to try 6, 7, 8 beers at a brewery, if you get a half pint of each one, or, a half pour depending on what they provide them in. But right, sometimes it's like, I can't do 6 half pours or 6,
No,
whatever
and
it is of that.
and sometimes I
but the
want
taster,
to. I want
sure.
to try a few different things to get a picture of what the brewery is, and I don't need to really understand every nuance of that beer. I want to know the brewery, and
Sure.
a flight lets me know the brewery. A half pour maybe lets me know the beer.
And I
there's
feel-
a big difference between those two.
And I feel like the amount in a taster gives you an idea, at least a starting point of what that beer is, to where you can go, you know what, I think there's more to this beer that I'm not yet getting, and then you can get either a half pour or a full pint, a full pour, a full, whatever their serving is. But that taster gives you enough to at least start to develop what that beer.
So
for instance, sometimes I sit down at a bar and they have a malt liquor on tap, and I get a half pour and I'm still confused, and I'm like, I don't understand what malt liquor is, and nobody can answer that question. Does anybody know what a malt liquor is?
So, what I want to say is, I've got a couple things, but I actually have
a malt liquor?
the definition of a malt liquor.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Oh, perfect
we're going to go
timing.
into a
Good call.
segment that I call reading. Hold on.
A reading
Hold on.
by Marco.
Marco reads his phone.
Reading by the book of Marco.
A reading by the book of Marco. Yes. Yes, yes.
This is a
Oh,
reading
no.
Oh, God.
by
Gilbert.
the book
Gilbert.
of Marco. The Nolly Gnome was on a beach. No, I'm sorry. So,
Love Gilbert so much.
malt liquor is a type of beer that contains more alcohol than standard beer. A beer with a volume of alcohol level above 5% is considered malt liquor in the
bullshit.
U.S. The higher alcohol
okay.
content means that malt liquor can be substantially affect the body more than beer, which is why it's sometimes called a heavy beer. I think that this is a very old school and outdated definition.
So by that definition, a beer named Duck at 5.2% is a malt liquor.
What I would also say is that these beers back. Thank you. 20, 30 years ago, to have a beer over 5% in
Was a
mass
big
production
deal. Sure,
was a big
sure.
deal. And so to put that your beer is 5.5% alcohol was kind of crazy shit. And you put it in 40-ounce bottles, and you market it as malt liquor. You got several, the smooth malt liquor picker. But nowadays, you get an average ABV of 5.2, 5.5, 5.6, 5.9%. Not that big a deal. So I don't know what the ABV of.
5 something.
Yeah, it's a malt liquor.
No, it's not.
But
It's fine.
So it was good beer. It was a good beer.
It's fine. But I like that it's labeled that.
Colin from West Side, make the malt liquor again.
I've got
Please.
thoughts.
That was so good.
I've got thoughts, and I'm gonna figure them out this week.
Sounds good.
Yeah?
Maybe,
Stay tuned.
Maybe new video, new something.
Blog post probably.
Perfect.
Yeah?
Stay
Perfect.
tuned.
Perfect.
You're going to bathe in malt liquor?
Yes.
Yes.
Colin, I'm still waiting for my sponsorship.
Yes. For DIPA Josh. How many pack techs did we bring to West Side the other day?
I have said if Westside sponsors me, I will get a Westside tattoo.
That's true.
I did say that.
That's true.
Still waiting.
Going back to Cincy Brewcast, you talked about their introduction to craft beer and the brewing industry. Brock had a really, really cool intro to craft beer that all started with being a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
It was an introduction story that we really haven't heard before. A lot of people tend to get into craft beer and the brewing industry via very similar methods or paths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was completely out of left field, so you can thank his children for him now being part of Deadlow.
Yeah.
Yes.
My kids are the reason I drink, so
Yeah. Same, bro.
it's fitting.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have an excuse. I just drink.
You can blame my kids.
I'll blame your... Okay. Yeah, your kids are why I drink. Perfect.
Julia's why I drink.
That is a very
That tracks.
fair... Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Blending beers. I want to see, based on the conversation you guys had, more paired 8-ounce cans that are sold that are designed
Rip
to
'em
be
apart.
blended together.
With your teeth.
I mean, my God, how amazing would it be? Like, we've talked multiple times on this show about certain beer styles need to be in 8-ounce cans anyway. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want a 16-ounce can of a 16% barrel-aged stout. But 8-ounce cans of some of these, and especially if they're designed to, like, mix and create
think
something
about-
new. How, that, I mean, that's fantastic.
Think about like a little mix of like a big imperial stout, big dry, just plain
Yeah.
imperial stout, and then like a raspberry sour. And
Yes.
you get to like do
Yes.
your own little mix and
And
it's so much fun.
And 8 ounces is a perfect size for each of those cans to where if you really like it, just 50-50. You have a full pint of that beer, or you can... we need it.
I
We
do
need it.
remember that 6-pack that you were talking about from Madry.
It's called like was it called Ohio?
I don't-
Something like that. Like
I
it
don't
was
know.
something like
I don't
that.
remember
They
it.
did put out a social media video where somebody came up and poured half of one beer and then poured half of another beer and was like, there you go. That's how it's supposed to be done.
Still, nobody understood it.
But no, they didn't.
Sitting on a
And
shelf, nobody got it.
Even I, having seen the video, I drank them all just individually on their own.
Yeah.
But it was cool and interesting. But
Maybe ahead of its time.
possibly.
Could have been.
Possibly.
Could have been. 2 other notes about this episode, and then, of course, a multiple choice question.
Oh, nice.
Yep. I went full multiple choice.
I
this
choose all
episode.
of them.
All of the above. All right.
It's not
When
choose
is the
one.
when is the
Multiple.
right time
multiple.
to start selling your Oktoberfest beers?
Yes.
That was a fun part of the conversation.
The
I
answer is
always
yes.
enjoy that. The answer is yes. Absolutely. Like you said, what Northern Road does. It's perfect.
It's fine.
All you need to do is just switch up the naming a little bit, depending on the season, year
Yeah.
round. I'm in. I am 100% in. And electrolyte beers. And what is a West Coast IPA according to Deadlow?
That was partially redacted, by the way, which Gnome was grasping for.
Yeah,
and
partially
couldn't-
There we
redacted
go.
from Narrow Path.
Yeah.
Is their Gatorade.
I was
slash
doing a
electrolyte
Julia
beer.
where
Their
I was
electrolyte
screaming.
beer.
Electrolyte beer, yeah.
I
Although-
was
Delicious.
We're not
whatever.
even supposed to say that. It's
right.
It's
beer
a beer
with salts.
Yeah, it was with sea salt.
It is delicious and perfect on a super hot, humid day. That's
Yeah.
all that matters. Oh yeah.
That's a salt joke.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, I get it.
See, it didn't translate as well, like verbally versus seeing the NA, but I gotcha. I appreciate you. I apologize that I failed that one.
All right.
That was a really, really like quick joke. I couldn't think of something better than just saying nah. So
It works. Anyone else have anything else on this episode of Cincy Brewcast talking to Deadlow Brewing before the multiple choice question?
Nah.
dang it.
See what you started? This is awesome. Almost as good as Jesus, how do I turn the button off? Oh God, what have I done? Okay, what is the newest beer style Deadlow may have offered the gnarly gnome during this interview? Is it A, a pasty stout? Is it B,
I remember.
a black pilsner?
It's like, wait a minute.
Or is it C, an electrolyte cream ale?
Ah, Julia is a D. Could a hoppy wheat.
All good options. Listen to this episode to find out which one they did try to offer the gnome.
I would drink all of those.
Yeah, so would I. Marco would be especially down for the black pilsner. He loves Schwartz beers and anything that is a
Schwarzbier
darker
and a black
version.
pilsner is
No,
they're two very different
no,
things.
No, that's not right. I hadn't
Can't-
finished.
It's bullshit.
I hadn't finished
They're
my
two different
statement yet.
things.
I hadn't finished my statement yet. I said I was. As everyone's freaking out. Marco enjoys the darker versions of these classic styles, so I think he would be down for a black pilsner or a Schwartz beer if Deadlow offered
I don't see color
him to
here,
either of
Leah.
those. Okay,
I do in your shirt. It's very bright.
it is a very bright shirt. I am.
Bright.
I am.
It's so bright it has sunglasses.
It has sunglasses.
It legitimately does.
Are we good to move into the weekly pint, which is the last show we need to talk about this week, and we are already at an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, well, Marco just walked
You
away,
guys
so
talk too much.
excuse me.
I'm just saying.
you're part
I've
of
said
the
4
conversation.
words.
You have.
Yeah.
So
No,
eight now.
Closer, closer to like 10. I think you're.
Yeah, he's probably at like 10 or 11. Yeah. All right. Well, since Marco just
Sip
got up
count.
and walked away from the table, let's go ahead and now he's walking to the bathroom. So let's take a quick
Gonna
break.
play Pac-Man.
Oh God, he's gonna get onto the golf game. We're gonna be like, "Yo, dude, come on. We still have one show left." We'll be right back.
Guava.
Marco found his way back to the table, which is awesome.
It's a good word.
Which means
Guava.
guava. It is fun.
It
to
is
say.
fun to say, yeah.
Guava.
Guava.
Guava. Maybe I'll make a new button out of that. We'll see.
Okay.
All right, last show to talk about tonight because good freaking Lord, we're at almost 2 hours. Patreon, you're welcome.
Jeez, Josh.
I'm sorry. I know Josh has said so much.
I am just
Let me get a door walk.
I am just a motor mouth. I'm an absolute motor mouth.
So I might have my numbering incorrect. So Gnome, correct me. I have this is the Weekly Pint episode 211.
I think it's 212.
But I think when I saw it in the podcast feed, it said 212. So it's either 211 or 212.
Who knows?
I don't know. Who knows? Well, we make this shit up as we go. Why
It's our
would
truth.
people do this for fun? Which, if you don't know what that's referring to, you haven't been following any of our social media pages. The biggest question that I have from this episode is I need to know, did the little gnome go to school today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, because there was some concern about,
No,
well,
'cause
I'm going to skip school. And it's like, where is this coming from?
I think it's all rooted to my wife somehow. If she's not there, everything's fine. And she left for work early this morning, and everything worked as normal. They woke up and they popped out of bed, and everybody was fine.
So the flying pig was towards the end of the episode. Do we
Yes.
want to go in episode order, or
Yes.
do we just want to? Okay, go.
Yeah, well, because that way I can run through the other notes pretty quickly, and then
Bojangles.
we could exactly. Which is my
Bojangles.
which is my next note. We picked your beer again. You said, okay, pick
You
left or right.
failed.
And
You're
Or did
welcome.
you?
once again, we disappointed you, and you should expect this.
I don't
by
think
now.
I disappointed him.
I was fine.
Well, no, you picked correctly.
I
Everyone
picked
else.
Bojangles.
I was,
Well, oh yeah, that's right. I don't know.
Yeah.
You need to continue with the pick a random number thing. That way you can just pretend you're picking out.
No, because I knew that I wanted one of those 2 beers. I knew, and the stark difference between the two
Yes.
was what made it funny to me. Like, I could see them both, and I knew it was going to go one way or
And
the
you're
other.
like, I'm either really going to enjoy this, or
And then
I'm
he
really
saw
fun.
me say, and I was the first one, and he's like, fuck.
Yes. Instead of drinking the beer that we picked for you, you're like, I'm going to call my wife down here to get
not what
a
happened.
random
It's not what
liquor
happened.
off of the bar, and I'm going to drink that instead. That's totally what
she
happened.
just wandered
That's
down,
my truth.
trying to find other booze to put in me, which is great. That's why I married her. When I start drinking things, she's like, you know what would taste good with that? This swamp water.
And this,
Yeah.
which apparently was
Armpit
pretty
juice.
good.
It was
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Like, it was actually good. It was real sweet.
I
but it was
have
good.
I have not been able to find out if the Zen green tea liqueur is for sale in either Northern Kentucky
Don't know.
or Ohio. After the 20-minute segue down green tea liqueur,
Swamp water. Swamp water lane, yeah.
rancid rabbit hole, talked about how Labatt is going to be brewed in the United States, and that means that the USA's takeover of Canada is beginning,
I don't like it. I don't like it.
but it means that we get to take over Canada.
Why would we
So-
want that? No,
I don't
nobody
know.
wants that.
So I'm sure someone
Their
does.
bacon's not even bacon.
It's
ham.
true. It's ham.
That's why would we want that?
It's ham.
The
Then you.
maple syrup.
Ooh, yeah.
Vermont has
Ooh,
great
that's
maple syrup.
true. That's
we
You're
don't
right.
need
We do
theirs.
No, you're
Vermont.
right.
We've
You're
got
right.
great maple syrup. We don't
Not
need theirs.
wrong. Not wrong.
There is nothing in Canada that we don't have.
Mounties.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Marco.
Who needs the Mounties?
Free health care.
We
I don't want
have
free
them.
health care.
Don't want free
Don't want free health care.
We don't have Mounties, and we need
Healthcare is
Mounties.
not free, sir.
We need the hats. We need something. High Grain at Brentwood. They are now open. We need to get up
Yeah.
there. Still, I say we. Josh and I still need to get up
It's-
there.
go. Let's go there and
It's
bowl.
pretty crazy.
Okay, we can go there and bowl.
I don't
That'd
think
be
you can. I
fantastic.
don't think you can bowl.
Oh, well, never mind.
You can bowl.
I mean, anywhere you bring a bowling ball, technically you can bowl. It just might not.
You can bowl once.
Once.
maybe. Once.
You can bowl once anywhere, and then that's it.
You can
And
you start a new
T-shirt.
TikTok page where you bowl once anyway.
That's a great TikTok page.
How are you
Just
banned from the
walk-
hospital?
Right.
Well,
And the
Hey, I'm
title
bowling at the hospital.
and the title of the TikTok page, "We Bowl Once."
Every video is just
Perfect,
you
just
walking in.
with a bowling ball and just
Today, we bowl once. You bowl, and you turn to the camera.
Oh my God.
Strike. Just every video.
we need to make this happen. We need to make this a thing. This is amazing.
That's actually awesome.
Millions of views, Marco.
Yeah.
Millions
Millions.
of views.
We'll get we'll get sponsored and everything, and we'll be able to float this podcast where we're not sponsored. Yeah,
Doesn't Adam sponsor us?
yeah,
Adam makes
he,
beer,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
that?
he does. He
All
does.
right, all right.
Adam, can we double up on that so that we can pay for a few beers, bro?
Okay, so because we are at 2 hours, and
That's great.
It is
pretty good.
The Weekly Pint is always a ton of fun. We're going to jump right into pig talk. Why do people run for fun? Team No Prep crushed it.
Yeah.
speaking of Wiggly Pint,
It's like
Way to
talking to
go.
my hillbilly family.
Way to
Jump
go.
right into pig talk, man. Can you believe it? Can you believe?
Team No Prep.
Team No Prep was amazing. Apparently, some of us were offered Vaseline, some of us weren't.
Yeah, I didn't get any
which is like a
Vaseline.
really weird thing.
I would have bent right over, man.
But we would,
Just load it up.
but we were
right there.
all offered tissues. Is that correct? Like
Yeah,
were
I
tissues
was.
at
I was
every-
offered a
Okay,
tissue.
so the tissue, and I think you were right. No,
Are we
that it wasn't
confirmed
the
that Caroline
Huffington-
also got offered tissues?
Sure, our truth. We're
Okay.
going to say she
Okay.
did. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the weirdest thing because they were holding out, and I'm going, Oh, is this? And I thought it was like maybe a cold towel or like
Yeah,
a
it
wet
no,
wipe
it was
or
a
whatever.
tissue.
It was very
It was
confusing.
a dry tissue, and I'm like, why? This is
I-
just gonna stick to me.
I
I was
Why
also
do
a
I
little
want this?
delirious from the heat. Maybe it was a
I
cold
think all
towel
of
and I
us
just didn't
can-
notice. But
I don't think so.
I think all of us
and they
would
were all over
agree
the
that
ground. I don't.
Vaseline's
It was-
important, though. I mean,
give
you
me this
need
Vaseline. Now what?
Well,
No,
what's-
like
what
you
was
need to be
interesting-
like when you're running longer distances
Sure.
than we did. You need to be
Chafing is a concern.
lubed.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
chafing is like this. It sounds funny. It's not. Like I
Which
bought
I thought-
I bought a stick
a body glide. Yeah.
of Body Glide, and
Yep.
I made sure that I would glide off of a.
He was sliding all the way.
He was a slippery
Like-
mofo
like a
when he
greased
got done with that
pig.
race.
I would glide
Woo,
off
like
a
a greasy
glass
pig
cutting
and a
board,
flying pig.
like yeah.
He was squirting all around the finish
Yeah,
line.
I would just glide everywhere, you know.
Nobody could get a hold of him.
What I thought was interesting, though, is in the conversation.
Exactly.
Caroline said that she was like her Vaseline station, like that she went past. They had the Vaseline
was on a
on like
stick.
popsicle sticks.
That was on a stick.
I'm going by like I wasn't sure what I was seeing. These were people wearing like the blue latex gloves with just a glob of it on their
Yeah.
face. I'm
Yeah.
like,
I think-
just what I
Yeah,
just
you just
wipe it off
Yeah, I
with your
think-
Yeah.
hand and just
No, I
no,
think
you wipe it off their hand, and you know
I
you
think
put
if
it
I
where you
want-
need it.
I think if somebody's lubing me up, I want them to be using their fingers, not a stick, right?
But no, you grab the
Right?
stick of lube and you put it where you need to put it.
No, I want somebody to use their fingers and put it where I need it.
Who knew the relay came with a prostate exam?
exactly. I know.
It
I'm like,
happens.
what?
I mean, you know,
it legit wasn't until like I was like half a mile past it. I'm like, oh,
Were they-
like it was just like. It
But
didn't- it
here's the
didn't-
thing.
Were they
Is that-
offering to apply it like to you? Like, could
I
you
didn't
like?
stop.
no.
I
They
don't
they
know.
buy you dinner first.
Did they
I
tell
don't
you?
know.
Did they like? Was there instructions? Because
No.
Caroline said there were
Right,
instructions. She
right.
said don't
Not
eat
edible
it.
to- no,
it's
no.
not a
What?
popsicle.
If
There was
there-
a whole like line of instructions
Right.
before you got there.
They
It'd
talk
there
all
were-
strange, like
be fun.
It was just unexpected.
It always is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're not
yeah.
the dry Kleenex was a little weird, but I get it. I get it.
I get
like,
the Vaseline more
with
than the dry
snot.
Kleenex.
I don't
Well,
understand.
there were lots of weird stations. Caroline got bacon and lots of beers and
Cookies. I had cookies on
cocktails,
mine,
and I think she had like a buffet at one stop. There was all kinds of
Right,
weird things that
right.
she got.
Shout out to Caroline, by the way, because she stopped at all these things to
and selfied.
and selfied at all these stations. Like she's like, I'm doing
This is
this.
so much fun."
I'm immersing in this situation, and her time was fine. And me, I didn't. I was like,
I'm not stopping at all,
I'm not
and
stopping
my
at all.
time,
I'm
yeah.
first leg. I need to get it. Everybody was like lollygagging in front of me. And I couldn't go any faster.
The first
me too.
leg,
Definitely
the
me
first
too.
Leg,
Yeah,
people
I just-
haven't
that's why I was
spread
slow.
out
You
enough.
just say,
People
"Excuse
everywhere.
me," and plow through them.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Move,
plow-
bitch! Get out the way!
Yeah, get out the way, bitch.
Hold on, let me bring the D.
Oh my goodness. I'm
Yeah.
just going to
But-
say that I am incredibly proud of all of us for saying, sure, we'll do this, and then still doing it
Yeah.
I
on,
couldn't
on
have done
race
it.
day. You know, I mean,
But
I mean, I
next
could have
year you
walked
will.
it. I could have walked it, but I couldn't have done it.
Walking counts.
I have short legs.
I walked a bit of mine. I did some
Yeah.
walking.
I walked most of mine.
It was like I would say like 50% of what I did was walking, and even like then the parts that I was running, I would say probably 35% of that was like a jog that is no faster than a walk.
Yeah.
It's completely inefficient
right,
jogging.
Even the parts of my leg where I was, air quotes running, people were still passing me, and I'm like,
yeah.
all right. But we still did it. You know
I
what I
got
mean?
passed.
did it. No,
I got
we
passed
did
by
it.
a guy on crutches. That's how slow my jog was at one point.
I was
That's-
jogging with the lady in the taco costume.
Yeah. The guy
A
in the
walking
inflatable
a walking
pig
taco.
costume
When you get
was
passed by a
amazing.
taco,
It's a walking taco.
It's a walking taco, yeah. It was amazing, and the Cincy Pod Squad team no prep.
We did great, and
We did great.
Other than Caroline doing what she did, we are mostly
For getting our friendship bracelets like 15 times.
we are mostly team no prep. Like
Yes.
Caroline did a lot of prep and
I feel like she
prep.
scammed us all. She prepped so that it wasn't bad,
Yeah.
other than sunburn.
Yes.
But then she also got to like run around and like drink with people and eat bacon.
Eat bacon,
Like she,
right.
Yeah,
she selected the best leg.
Well, out of the 4, you don't want to be the 4th.
Well,
It was rough.
what I would say is if I was ever conned into this again,
That won't happen.
I would want to do the first leg again to at least see if I have any change in my time or anything like that. But it was fantastic. Like to be part of the Flying Pig community, to be part of
Tens of thousands of people doing
that
this.
actually did that, and to be, for the Cincy Pod Squad to say that we've done that. Afterward, we can talk about it and share stories as we're doing, and it was fun. And
My biggest takeaway about the whole thing, it was great to see people along the route, even as things got later, because we pushed our limits of how long we were supposed to be on the course. Like we were under the limit, but we were right there.
Sure. Yeah,
But there were still people hanging out there, cheering people on, and that's great.
Community support was fantastic, right?
On the same level, though, when I was like 2 miles into my 7, and there were people standing there cheering, and they're like, "Hey, you've got this. You're almost done." God, I wanted to hit him in the face. Not almost done.
not almost done.
I just started.
Because they don't know that you're just one
Right.
leg of a relay.
Right.
Like you're doing, because if you're doing the whole thing, all things considered, yes, you're almost
No,
done.
you're still not almost done. You're still not almost done.
What I've
you
started
still have 6
telling-
miles to go.
I've done enough races where people say that like a quarter of the way into whatever the distance is, oh, you're doing great, you're almost there. I start yelling back, you're the reason I have trust issues.
Right.
I am not almost done. Stop.
Tell me I'm doing great, and then let it
And
go.
then let it go.
Just be done.
Agreed.
Hand me a water.
It was.
Josh,
I am so
you
glad
in next
that
year?
Probably not.
He might be in for what I brought up
we've
as
got
our
plenty.
next relay.
Give me like a 1 miler with like a pint at each quarter of the mile.
Our
okay with
strategy for next year is much better than that. You'll absolutely want to be in.
I don't think there's any reason why we can't organize something like that here at
Sure.
Summit Park.
the Brew Ash 5K. We could relay that.
Yeah.
Because we've been running along since the first episode, since the first show that we talked about. Is there anything else about this episode of the Weekly Pint that you want to mention before I get to the sip
Bojangles.
and emoji
Just wanted to
count?
mention that.
Bojangles was okay.
It was fine.
It was fine. All right.
Not as good as
I-
Guy's tea.
I combined the sip count and unintentional emoji count.
Okay.
Because there were a few of those.
I always miss them.
There were a few of those.
I love it.
You
So unintentional. I don't even see them.
you took a total of 7 sips.
What?
And there were
14
yeah,
ounces.
Yeah, you took a decent amount of sips
7
of
still
the
seems
green
low.
tea. You did a lot of sniffing, but yeah. And then there were 2 unintentional emojis.
Okay.
So that's a total of 9 countables, which is 18 ounces.
Were they both thumbs up?
They were both thumbs up.
Okay.
Yes.
That's my
So
thing.
that's 1.125 pints during this 52-ish minute episode. Not bad. That's kind of my typical for the shows. And then the weekly pint question, the multiple choice question for this episode of the Weekly
Julia's
Pint.
multiples. Let's go.
What could Gnome have had to drink if he didn't leave it up to us? Was it A, Pliny the Younger? Was it B, a beer from New Glarus? Or was it C, some weird aloe-infused recovery drink?
What do you think, Gnome?
I remember. Still
remember.
disappointed about it.
Again, you leave it up to the masses, you're bound to be disappointed,
Part of
especially
the
when
fun.
Marco and I are involved.
Especially Marco.
Or is it D, Julia?
Dang.
Jeez.
Or is it that great tasting Mick Ultra that he had right after the race?
Another one of those. That was the best Mick Ultra
Can you
ever.
get that D off my leg?
Oh,
Yeah, hold on. Wait.
Slide it over.
Reel it back in.
Reel it. I'm
There
gonna.
you go.
well, was there anything else that anyone wanted to bring up before we wrap up this over 2-hour episode?
No, I think we shut up.
That is fair.
All right, I can start talking now.
Oh my God!
Hello.
Here we go.
It comes to life.
If you like what we've done tonight, do what you know you should do. Like, subscribe, review, share.
Foot his burrow.
Tell everybody that you know about Truth, Beer, and Consequences. And just, I don't know, maybe add us on social media or something. Who knows? Just do a thing. Go to truthbeerpod.com. That's where you can find links to all of our social media platforms, our email address if you want to send us something, and most importantly, a link to our Patreon. Subscribe and get unedited episodes of what we do. You get all the chaos.
Don't do that.
The only things that I cut out are the silences when we go to get another beer, go to the bathroom, that kind of thing, because no one wants to have 15 minutes or more of just dead air.
Or follow me into the bathroom.
Or no one wants to follow Marco into the bathroom. That is very true. Other than that, follow our sister podcast, Cincy Beer Events, where we tell you all about the Cincinnati beer events happening in and around the area, going out about a month or so. And with that being said, Marco, Josh, Gnome, what are you guys going to be doing next Tuesday?
Drinking.
Not running.
Doing this. Cheers, everyone.
Sounds good. Cheers.